Hello. So I'd like to thank K&A Design and Dr. Mohammed for inviting me here today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the evolution of hotel design. There's shifting aspirations. We're starting to see that the upscale traveler is increasing, wanting to be away from the generic luxury. They want more tailored experiences. They want to be part of a community of like-minded people. They want to wish to become part of an hotel experience. And social media is a big deal about how we choose our hotels and choose the experiences that we experience. They seek hotels that are distinctive in their design and the ambience and the service with animated public spaces and not cookie cutter. The cookie cutter is dead. Preference for the localization of design and the experience reflecting the destination, arts and crafts, the culture. The 10 biggest hotel chains over the last 10 years have introduced 30 of the new brands. There's now 115. There's confusion in the market about what each of those brands mean and stand for. But we're seeing that the lifestyle and the select service sectors are the biggest innovators. However, Airbnb has entered the market. It's putting pressure on the hotels and their unique selling position. It is the largest hotel operator, or its largest room inventory operator in the world that has no inventory at all. We're going to talk about some notable typologies: the Nick Gin lifestyle, membership clubs, lifestyle select service, and we'll go through these a little bit more in detail. The typical characteristics of a new Nick Gin lifestyle: they're contemporary design, they're animated public spaces, and they're often localized to reflect the destination. The W at Starwood was the forerunner. It was a hip new concept. However, the addition by Marriott, the Andaz by Hyatt, and Ace Hotels, they've established themselves as this unique boutique brand, but tying into the global reservation market. One Hotels has evolved as an eco-conscious urban lifestyle hotel brand, and it's been well received. Select service. It's grown in the number in the market because it has good ROI and it's easy for develop. They've been far more creative and less of the cookie cutter standpoint. They incorporate technology and they streamlined the service industry. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay. They often include unique offerings like self-check-in, grab-and-go dining, cool animated lobby spaces. These brands have entered and reinvented the market. They've included premier hotel clubs, the Citizen M, and the Hyatt and Generator. The spaces have evolved. The lobby, the meetings, and the guest rooms. We'll talk each one of these in detail. The lobby, as I said, it's becoming much more vibrant. It's becoming a social gathering spot where locals and tourists mix. They're increasingly use of the meeting spaces where work and play are combined. Art, music, events bring space to life and create an appealing destination. From the grand and the austere to the warm and welcoming, that's how it's changed. Receptionist desks are replaced by iPad check-ins, which promotes a relaxed and welcomed environment. Tech-happy spaces with Wi-Fi and charging stations in our abundance. Very social. Food and beverage. We're seeing more chameleon spaces where they change by day and night. Quick fix, innovative food concepts, grab-and-go, pop-up bars, bringing farm to table into the hotels with cooking experiences and classes is driving. More, think experiential. Cool, creative spaces designed to cater to and increase the demand of the range of celebratory events, both large and small. The bedrooms, the guest rooms. There's less time being spent in the guest rooms. Therefore, the standard room sizes are shrinking, which is good news. It's the largest single space divider in a hotel. And so if developers are actually building less, it's less cost on the project. Those in-room lounge spaces are being forgone because people want to get more into the public areas. The large statement 6-piece bathrooms are being replaced by the wow factor walk-in showers. Technology, simplicity, and design is more minimalist, less cluttered. Conferences and meeting spaces are also dramatically changing. They're seeking fun environments, casual approaches, healthy eating options. Technology is king. Breakout spaces with pool tables, comfy sofas, environments that are encouraging in social interaction. Outdoor meeting spaces being designed in a resort context. Operators are starting to rethink their approach in creating unconventional meeting spaces, open layouts, residential kitchens, and informal lounges. The social media, the experiential and the Instagrammable. Key trends is that we want to see things like more basement screening rooms, party pools, adult pools, compact bowling centers. They're aimed at generating demand from the local residents and corporate events that translates into rental income and food and beverage spend. Rooftop bars, dining, gardens, and has been successful in the urban market. Such amenities become signature elements to the hotels, and they bring some downstream room night referrals and strong brand loyalty. Everything is old and new again. Hints of the design materials. We're seeing the 70s and 80s and 90s coming back in the interiors, evoking nostalgia and glamour, creating a new take on the old classics. The concept of creatively reusing old-scale objects, upcycling. The idea of taking something old and broken, rebuilding it into something new and different. It's moving away from the shabby chic concept into a more artistic use of color and styles. The industrial design style is proving popular, which really lends itself to reclaiming materials. Popping colors. Minimalism is a twist, combining these neutral-based colors with deep, saturated colors in the hotel market. The Gen Y traveler is opting for elements that photograph well. It fits their lifestyle. Color combinations on the horizon include deep reds, oranges, ocean blues, honey gold yellow. I like that. Localization. Travelers today want to stay in a hotel that taps into the local culture, the community, the cuisine, the art, the craft, the destination. They don't want to be in a cookie-cutter hotel that could be anywhere in the world. They want to experience the place. This can be achieved through artwork, construction materials, nods to the location's past, local industry, notable historical characters. Organic and rustic. Natural, organic, rustic styles inspire the great outdoors. The use of organic materials, wood, clay, marble, copper. These are all materials we're seeing. Departure from perfection. Not everything has to be perfect. A little rough around the edges is good. Synergies with trends for wellness, reconnection with the simple life, back to nature. Checking in, disconnecting. Offer immediate identity. Originality invokes authenticity. It's low cost of implementation and maintenance. We're also seeing the indoors come out. Increasingly blurred lines between interior and exterior space. Wood finishes, green walls, living plants, they incorporate outdoor elements. They help hotels create a sense of space. With guests increasingly concerned over how eco-friendly their hotels are, having live plants and the decor sends a message. It's also relatively inexpensive, but an effective way to make an impact and evoke a character. Branded residential. The concept is continuing to gain traction. It's increasingly buyers see the value of brands and the hallmark construction design services. Offers security and removes the hassle. Brand residences proved a result of price premiums, increased sales velocity, and compared to similar unbranded properties. The Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, Starwood have dominated this space to date, but we're seeing the Aman, Mandarin Oriental, and Rosewood are now establishing themselves in the market. Banyan Tree, Sixth Sense, they do this, but primarily focused on Asia and the Indian Ocean. A few statistics there. Condo hotels, that emerged as a solution for developers to marry the interests of investors and tenants. To create a form of hotel development funding that supports the project economics. A strong hotel market is a prerequisite to success in the as per any hotel development, but fortunes have ebbed and flowed. In North America, however, increasingly popular in Asia. So, I went really quickly, but so in summary, we really want to see efficiency in design. We want to see that the bedrooms are smaller, it's compact, it's more efficient, more streamlined. But we also want to see flexibility. We want to see chameleon spaces that are designed to change character and revenue generating by day and by night. It's the experimental. Try different things. Rooftop gardens, party pools, pop-up restaurants, eclectic artwork. This all brings a uniqueness to the space and to the hotel. Informality, fun and casual, food and beverage. The meetings and incentive spaces, less austere reception areas. There's a focus on friendly and informal. Innovation, increased use of technology in the bedrooms, create recycling in the integral, and creative recycling in the integral part of the design, growing in the prominence. And socialization, the encouragement of the local community, the use of the facilities, amenities that generate revenue, loyalty, and a sense of animation. These are proven a route for referrals. Thank you. Yeah, any questions?
The new standards or the new standards for room type, or is it just a new tradition that you are trying?
Oh no, this is something we're seeing. Instead of in 5-star properties having 50 square meter rooms, we're starting to see them at 41, 42. They're starting to reduce in size. Again, there's certain parts of the rooms that we're not seeing. The sitting area is going away. The bathroom's becoming much more compact. And so they also see that it's also the biggest square meter part of their program. It's the largest part, drives their cost of construction the most. So when they can reduce it, they're seeing that as a positive. Plus, they're trying to encourage this coming into the lobby space, having it much more experiential. Any other questions? Sure.
Thanks. Just myself, who actually lives in hotels 5 days a week. The first question: how do architects and developers cooperate with the customers in the market research? How do you actually integrate the needs or the demand from the market in your work? How does that take place?
Well, one of the things that we do at WTNG is when we start projects, we try to do an anthropological study, not only of the region and what's working, but we're also trying to bring these influences we see from other regions that are coming in. Because we do know that it's a cycle, there's a trend that happens in hospitality. It might start in the Americas, it might jump over to Europe, and eventually we'll make it there, so we're trying to be ahead. But one of the questions I always do ask our clients is, where do you want to be in this market? Because when you're designing a hotel, we are at least a year away from getting it to start construction. 2 years before it actually opens, 2.5. They have to be thinking at least 3 years down the road, and they want to usually set the market so you'll be at the top of it for at least 5 to 7 years. Otherwise, why do this, right? Sure. So.
I have a question.
Sure.
I remember once we were talking and you told me that there is someone inside the WETG who's working on how to improve entertainment in the future, work on the future of hospitality inside WETG. I wonder if this is the role of the architect to propose to the client the kind of amenities, the kind of entertainment that should be put inside an hotel or a resort in order to put it ahead of its competitors.
Sure. We do have a strategy department within WETG. They're helped put this presentation together. Their primary role is looking at the markets, where the trends are going, and what's coming in the future. On top of that, we obviously attend various conferences around the world and try to see not only what we think is coming in studying, but we also try to see what others are seeing is coming. We also try to engage in some pure hospitality competitions. For 4 years, we were part of a John Hardy competition that was called Radical Innovations in Design. And it was about the hospitality market and how to rethink what the hospitality market was about. And so it was a little bit of us doing some study, and in a what-if, non-project, don't worry about the budget or anything type of analysis, try to propose some ideas. And so that was part of the ALICE conference in North America. And we did it for 4.5 years, and I think we placed in the top 4 every time we did it. So it's been a little bit thinking outside the box and bringing that. And we've been using some of that we've learned and proposing it to clients as we go forward. Okay?
I'm very interested to know how does that interfere with the scope of the operator. When you work for the specific operator and they have certain requirements, and then you have other suggestions for them.
Oh, we're always going to have to fulfill the brand standards. But I do see that most operators, they are also trying to rethink their brand and keep it fresh and keep it new. So oftentimes they might be just a little bit ahead of us. I was just with one project, and the operator, we had designed a whole all-day dining. They came up with a whole new concept for the all-day dining that they hadn't even released. We were in the middle of schematic design by the time they released this. So we retrofitted it into our design. But so we do see that they're doing the same thing that we're doing. So I think it's about the market, industry coming together and being collaborative and thinking about a better way to do something. Because, like, again, they really want to set themselves apart, each operator does. They don't want to have a mix-up between Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons and not have an understanding about what that is. You know, is JW Marriott, Waldorf Astoria, where are they at? And how do they distinguish themselves from their competitors? So,
Thank you.
in the back.
Hi, I'm an MEP consultant, and I would like to ask about some hotel managements. They ask us for a full automation system inside the guest room. And after some time, we find that it's not easy to some of their guests, especially in the Middle East. What's your opinion about that, and what's the need for that?
On the automation in the
Inside the guest rooms. Controls and
Yeah, I think that you really want to see. The trouble is, as Paul was mentioning, I tend to live in a lot of hotels throughout the year, and I am always trying to figure out exactly how to run the room. Okay, how to make it the right temperature, get the lighting right. I think that this automation just helps. I was at a hotel once, and upon me opening the front door, TV turns on, the drapes open up, music comes on, everything was, all there at my ready, and then there was like a whole little tutorial right on the TV about how I was going to run the room. So it was one thing that caught me right as I was coming in, is like, they're making an effort here to actually show me how to run this room, and I actually took the time. I think the 7 or 8 minutes it took to do the little tutorial, and it was a much happier stay for me personally during that time. But that's what I think. I think it really needs to happen because so many people are traveling to different types of hotels. It's always a guesswork about how everything happens, how the air conditioning works, how the lights go on and off, where are our data switches at, where are they not, are they easy to get to us, do I have one master to shut everything down? So I think it's an important thing, and I think the industry is going to keep going there. So. I was trying my best to get you back on schedule there.
Would you please let us know what are the main factors you consider while choosing the flooring type in a hotel for an area like the lobby area that will give the client more hospitality and feeling comfortable out of this place?
Well, I think it's changing. I think you're starting to see yourself go away from stonework and coming into more woods in the lobby areas. Okay, I am seeing that. I think the austere luxury of the past that is changing. I think you're starting to, let's face it, I think the affluent traveler is younger now.
What's your opinion about Polish concrete application for these places? It is colored or different coolings and patterns?
I think it can be. If you want to have something that's pretty avant-garde or different, you certainly can do that. You obviously have to think about noise factor, cleaning, how well it's going to be maintained. Those are also obviously factors you have to go into it. But I think it really is going to go to what the hotel operator, what the owner is looking for. If their market segment is more of that young kind of 30s, 40s-year-old group that's an affluent market, they're probably going to be more accepting of it than maybe somebody who's in their 50s and 60s. They're going to want to see the more refined finishes. And I think that's why all of these brands are starting to diversify themselves even within their luxury tiers.
Some designers that I talk to, companies come with the climate. They feel somehow the concrete does not match the hot weather, while the marble more. What's your opinion about it?
Well, my opinion, I think you should always try to go with some local materials and try to understand how the local market is. Whenever I go to a region, I try to look at the local architecture and see how it has always reflected to its environment and how it plays well. Okay, in the Middle East, courtyards have always been worked well. I don't think you do as much indoor-outdoor space that you would see as in other regions where more tropical, more humid. It's more indoor-outdoor, large overhangs. But I think that material-wise, I think it's really going to come down to where you want to peg yourself in the market. Okay, if you want to be something that's hip and trendy and a little bit different, because like I was mentioning before, there are certain brands in this lifestyle marketplace that is trying to be exactly that, to be something different, to come up with materials that are you wouldn't see them normally in those uses. Okay, but that gets to some of the character of what the hotel is trying to do and what that particular brand niche is trying to achieve and the guests that it's trying to attract. Okay, thank you.
From Space Consultant. Not the general question about the point of view and perspective that we cannot present. But at the moment, I need some inside information.
Well, you have a whole room full of experts here on the Egyptian market, probably more so than me. I have been working here for the last 7 or 8 years on projects, from hospitality to residential. And I've traveled probably here in that 8 years, probably 20 or 30 times over the course of that 8 years. I think this, from an outsider looking in, with the current devaluation, I'm almost here trying to see if how it's going to affect things going forward. I was personally thinking it was going to be a little bit tougher. Certainly from an international consultant standpoint, as my fees just got much more expensive, just with the devaluation. So, to be quite honest with you. But residential is remaining strong. I met with some developers last night. They're still seeing the apartments and service apartments is strong, but probably the villas are going to be a little tougher to move and sell. Okay? I think there's some other one over here.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Khalid. My question has a marketing perspective. Given that now all the accessibility to information for booking through internet, booking.com, hotels.com, not to mention Airbnb, everybody has access to the booking without using travel agent or even taking away brand loyalty. So what are, from your experience and from your statistics, what are the motives or the top 5, for example, motives for people to book a certain hotel, not the others, so you can take these motives into consideration when you are in the phase of design or conceptual design of a hotel?
Yeah, I think more and more the traveler is looking for a true, authentic experience in the market. Any brand that's going to try to offer them that, I think they're going to gravitate towards. I think that's why Airbnb actually is being successful, because it's immersion into the local culture. It's, you're right in homes, you're right into apartments and everything. I also am faced with the real fact that there's a whole generation of travelers that's coming up that don't believe in brand loyalty. It's not on the top of their list, and that's going to be driving things as they go forward. Whereas another generation might have been all about, a Fairmont or a Marriott Rewards Club. Others are going to be less so. And I hate to say this, but we're starting to see those 30 and 40-year-olds. They don't have as much brand loyalty as I'm saying the boomer generation, the older generation had. So I think that's actually affecting operators, and I think that's why they're seeing so many diverse brands that the hoteliers are putting out, because they're trying to almost capture almost every possibility for their travelers, okay, but still keep within the reservation system. Does that help you?
Yes. But if I can, other than local experience, price is a factor, of course, but we'll not talk about it. But what other room size, amenities, location? What are, from what you've gone through, what are the main decisive elements that play a role in life?
Well, in an urban hotel, you want to make sure you're connected. People want to check into an urban hotel. They want to make sure that they have access, internet, Wi-Fi, everything that's at their fingertips. In a more resort setting, some of those resorts want to be almost disconnected. Connection on demand. They want to almost kind of get away. And so that's where we see that as well. I'm not really seeing that. I think the bigger drivers for is brand loyalty. amenities. It really kind of deals with the kind of the market that you're in. What is it that's playing well? What is it? Some of the things we talked about in the urban market, those rooftop bars, those kind of unique gathering places that they can kind of mix with locals. That's an important aspect to the new traveler. This kind of new experience, different types of food offerings, different types of amenities such as cooking classes, full-on kitchens where you can go there and immerse yourself into this farm to table, but also learn something while you're there. It's just got to think of a very immersive experience, and anything that will kind of fit into that, I think will play well. Okay? Thank you. Sure. Anybody else?
Barry, I know you've done work in different countries, in different contexts.
Yeah.
You had a chance to work with different local consultants. So how do you evaluate the experience of working with local consultants? What's the criteria that you evaluate
Sure.
the local consultant approach?
Sure. You know what's interesting about that? In the Middle East, we seem to always work with a local consultant that we will have a relationship with. We almost come as a team or a pair type of scenario where we're working with them. We either know them ahead of time, teamed up with them before, almost proposed together. In Asia, we don't even have a say in when our drawings get handed off to the local LDI. And it's not a collaborative effort. They hardly ever want us to have any kind of design overview. So we try to put in what we need to at the beginning, make sure we get it all in there, and really kind of hope for the best with the local LDI. Sometimes we're brought back in later on to help fix things if the owner thinks it's gone pretty astray. But that's the two differences I see. I think it's much more collaborative in the Middle East, and it's even less so in Asia. Okay. We are seeing a lot of clients, though, that are looking for one-stop shops, and it helps us to look for kind of consultants that are the same. If I can find a consultant that might be the local architect and also the primary SMEP, it's going to make our lives a lot easier, and the coordination will be a lot cleaner. Okay? And so that's why we're seeing a lot of things where they ask us to bid on landscape and planning, architecture, interiors all together, and then knowing that we're going to ideally hand off to a client or to a local that also has those trades. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.